Good morning, Tammy Stewart here, founder at the foreveryoungacademy.health, and I'm with Dr. Rafael Gonzalez at ReHealth in Mexico, and we're going to talk about how we can use stem cells and natural killer cells to help us stay forever young feeling. Thank you.
Thank you
for
very
being
much for
here.
having me.
Yeah.
I appreciate great place that we're at right now.
Oh, it's beautiful.
It's beautiful. It's
so
fantastic.
wonderful.
Yeah, it's really, really nice out here. We're actually in Tulum now.
Mm-hmm.
Our clinic is actually in Cancun. And one of our focuses in general is cells, which we've
Yes.
spoken about quite a bit. Two particular cell types. One, which is part of the immediate immune response, which is a natural killer cell that targets viruses, cancer, and aged cells, which are called senescents.
Let me interrupt you there. As a layman, the immediate immune response, which is like if I had, the measles when I was a kid, I'm not going to get it again. That's a different kind of immune response.
Yep.
Okay, so
Yeah,
we're
yeah,
talking about an immediate immune
Yeah,
response.
something that's actually quick, relatively quick when you go outside and you're exposed to a virus, different air particles, airborne, whatever. This is one of the first responders. So this is the immediate one.
Like the firemen.
Yep, like the firemen. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, there you go. That's actually a
So,
good analogy.
so my husband and I came, and we got, I got stem cells at the clinic, and he got natural killer cells. So for him, they drew his blood, they sent his blood to the lab, I isolated the natural killer cells and grew more of them, and I'm really proud of him because he had like one of the highest scores of
Yeah,
natural
correct.
killer cells, which is super.
Yeah, so his immune
super
system
cool.
is actually really good because we obtained 3 billion natural killer cells of his own cells. These are his own cells that were actually put back in. They were activated prior to going in because one of the problems is as we age, we don't deal with mutated cells, cancerous cells well. We don't deal with viruses well. And we age naturally, which causes a particular cell type that's called a senescent cell to secrete out factors that makes aging difficult and accelerates aging.
Painful. That's what makes us look old and feel old because we have these old cells that are, some of them are malfunctioning, some of them are not functioning. They're just taking up space and releasing poisons into our system. And so we need to stay forever young feeling, we need to add more of those new guys and get rid of those old
guys.
bad malfunctioning guys.
Yeah.
So he got natural killer cells, and then I got stem cells. Now tell me, what is unique about the stem cells that you do here?
Got it. Yeah, so the stem cells that we do here, you're not allowed to do in the United States because essentially we take from an umbilical cord, a segment about that big, very well tested on the donor side, including genetic testing, karyotype, anything you can think of, viruses. These are viral-free donors that have actually donated, and we culture expand it with a patented technology that we actually have. So we've expanded them. They're considered a drug in the United States, therefore that's why we do them here. The other thing is that these are really young cells, naive cells,
right.
that secrete out and express, because that's how stem cells work, the factors that help control the immune system. And our clear focus is the immune system, because every single disease component has an immune, something immune to it.
Yeah, that's the
Every
first
single disease,
response
yes.
is your immune system. So that's really, your gut is your foundation of your health.
Yep.
Your cell is your foundation, but your immune system is very foundational
It's
for
key.
everything,
Yes.
everything about your health.
Yeah, and that's our focus, is actually taking those, expanding them up, testing them, and then putting them into an IV setting.
Great point, IV.
Yeah, it's an
It's an
IV
IV.
setting, so it's just a simple IV. It's relatively simple, and this
Very
is an off the
easy.
shelf. You're not doing any procedure. You're not doing. All you're doing is an IV, and that's it.
Yeah, very easy, very fast. It's easy to get into and out of Cancun. I mean, today it is.
Yes.
I can't predict the future, but very easy, fairly inexpensive. Coming to Mexico is great because the food in Mexico is generally much more healthy. So my clients are going to wonder about that. It's
Yep.
easier to travel here and stay healthy, and just to relax, and you get into nature, and your body is going to respond well. So let me go back to those stem cells. So you're testing them better than other places, because my clients are going to think, why would I go to Mexico for that when I can go down the street and get exosomes, or I can get stem cells? But what you said that I want to just really specify and emphasize is that you test them differently.
We test, not only do we test them differently, but once again, in the United States, you're not allowed. Somebody may tell you that they're using stem cells when it's actually sort of a plethora of a bunch of different cell types, where they're taking cord tissue and they're just dissociating it and they're putting it in somewhere. The other thing is that you're not allowed to do IVs in the US. So this is
just
systemic,
an
just a
injection. Got it.
localized injection.
Perfect.
And this is also a pure mesenchymal stem cell population. So it's a pure stem cell population, and we're talking about hundreds of millions of cells, 100 million cells on up. It just depends on each case, because each individual here is treated differently. We look at each individual as being unique, because we are unique,
Yeah.
and we test, we go through various different expectations, what's expected, what is the problem, how can we help with the problem, and if you're actually a candidate to actually
Right.
do this.
Good.
Yep.
So not everyone is.
Not everybody
So
qualifies
it's
to be a
possible
candidate
that
for
you
it.
could go somewhere else and get stem cells that were not from umbilical cord, so they aren't young. Maybe
Correct.
they came from an old person,
Yes.
and they may have been carrying some kind of bacteria or
Something that you don't know,
virus
that
or
it wasn't
something.
tested well, and
Right.
yes, yeah.
Okay, great. So we're going to get the stem cell IV. It goes systemic, and one of the things that that we had been thinking is that your lungs and your liver suck those up first, and so then you might not have enough to get to the part of the body, the healing that what you really wanted to be
Yes.
healed. But that's not really the situation.
That's
here.
not the situation, because essentially people think that you take a stem cell and it can regenerate a tissue. It doesn't do that. It doesn't form a new organ. It doesn't regenerate tissue. It works by similar to every cell in our body that communicates one cell with the other cell. So in the case of when we do an intravenous infusion, the vast majority of them are in the lung because they're relatively large versus the vasculature, so they have a hard time going into different areas. It takes them a little while.
Ah.
However, remember, in your body, when something is incorrect, you have a distress signal. And in that case, what we're going to do is, to simplify this, we're going to call that distress signal a 911 call, or we're going to call it a key, because actually that's exactly the way it works.
Okay.
It's a key, and then the cell that's secreted out has that lock. So what the lock actually does is it may stay in the lung, but it hears that signal, and the cell forces itself to survive. Because when we grow cells, they're in what we call utopia. They're in the optimal condition. But then when we put them in your body, remember, we have so much distressors.
Right.
We may not eat well. We've been exposed to different things. They're no longer in that optimal condition. So they have to strive to survive.
Right.
They secrete out what's needed to make that change in our body until they're done secreting it. And then at that point, they've made that functional change. At that point, your body now has healed, repaired, because your own system has the signal to actually do it. So we're aiding your body into what it naturally can actually do.
Yeah, fabulous. Good. Anything else that you want to add? Question that I haven't
No,
asked?
I think
How
you
to-
guys would,
how
you
to
know,
contact you?
yeah, you can contact us at www.rehealth.com. It's a very simple procedure, and you will get a consultation with one of our team. It's individualized if you actually can be a candidate to actually do it. It's completely safe out here. It's
Yeah.
fantastic out here. If you're concerned about eating, I mean, we've just spent
Fine.
3-4 days eating
Yeah.
organic.
It's fine.
Eating fantastic. Yes.
Transportation's not a problem.
Transportation's
They
not a
picked us up
problem.
at the airport. It was very easy. We drove to the clinic, and you could, in fact, depending on where you lived, you could, in fact, come and back and forth in a day.
Yep.
In theory.
In a couple of days, we require that individuals stay here so we can monitor
Oh,
for
good.
safety purposes.
Okay, good. I'm glad. I'm glad
So-
we learned that.
And
Good.
and since you're out here, this is a beautiful place.
Yeah, spend a couple.
Take
of
a couple days
Yeah.
and relax and get some downtime. It's always great to
It
have
is
some downtime
very
for
healthy.
your own health.
Very
Yes.
healthy for your immune system. Thank
Yes,
you.
thank
I
you very
appreciate
much.
it
Pleasure.
for making us younger. Thank you.
Thank you.